If you've seen any of my videos where I made Legend of Zelda items out of Lego, then you'd know just how excited I am that another legendary Nintendo franchise has come to life with the Legend of Zelda theme. And now in conjunction with Lego Super Mario, Animal Crossing, Sonic, and even Minecraft, it got me thinking of another notorious Nintendo franchise that could be turned into Lego. With the arrival of The Legend of Zelda as an official LEGO theme, I think it's time I continue this Nintendo theme into the next natural progression, LEGO Super Smash Bros. LEGO has already included some of the most important Nintendo characters from Smash Bros. In their sets. While you may or may not be able to count characters like Mario, Luigi, and Peach due to them not really being minifigures, I'll count them for now. But they've done buildable figures for characters like Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Bowser, Bowser Jr., all the Koopa Kids, Yoshi, and even the Piranha Plant. But as far as actual minifigures go, we've got Isabelle from Animal Crossing, Steve, Alex, Zombie, and Enderman from Minecraft, Sonic, and most recently, Link and Young Link. Technically, we could also count Zelda, however, her Breath of the Wild appearance isn't in Smash Bros., so she'll be the first character I customize to look more like her classic Smash Bros. Counterpart.
Zelda!
The first thing we're going to do is take the head and the hair from her Breath of the Wild appearance that's in the Deku Tree LEGO set. Then you'll need this torso that's from a Disney Aurora minifigure. But we won't need the original arms from it. Instead, we're going to be using these arms that have a white sleeve and flesh-toned arms and hands. And then we'll also be needing the skirt from a Princess Leia minifigure. Then we can also give her a translucent orange minifigure accessory piece to make it look like she's using Din's fire. And now we have a more classic-looking Zelda appearance as opposed to her Breath of the Wild one.
Ganondorf!
For the start of Ganondorf, we're going to use the legs from this Geonosian minifigure. And then just the torso from this Prince of Persia minifigure. The gold accents on both of these pieces are the same color, so they mesh together pretty well. Next we're going to take the black and gray arms from the Series 12 Video Game Guy minifigure. And since that minifigure has yellow hands, we're going to need to take those off. And we'll be replacing them with olive green minifigure hands instead. Then we're going to add this dark red cape. And then to match the olive green hands, we're going to give him this Hulk minifigure head, which actually has a dual-sided face, so you can choose which expression you want to use. Either way, both faces are pretty fitting for Ganondorf. And of course we need some iconic orange hair as well. And then I decided to give him this sword, which is pretty accurate to the one that he uses in the games. And now that we've got Ganondorf taken care of, we're going to take a look at a character that Ganondorf actually stole a lot of his moves from.
Captain Falcon!
To get us started with Captain Falcon, we're going to use the torso from this Star Wars Cyril Karn minifigure. Once you've got this Star Wars torso, you can then change the arms out with these blue and yellow arms, and then add some bright orange hands for Captain Falcon's gloves. Similar to the arms, you can add these blue and yellow legs to go with them. Then for an accessory, you can either add this orange scarf or this shoulder armor. You won't be able to get both of these pieces on your Captain Falcon minifigure, but either of them would make for a good and accurate accessory. I chose to use the shoulder armor because I think it looks a little bit cooler. Then I used this Batman minifigure head because it looks really accurate to what Captain Falcon's face looks like in the game too. Especially once you add this racing helmet that has this fire decal on it. And for the finishing touch, we're going to add this translucent orange dragon piece from a Ninjago set. It's the perfect accessory for Captain Falcon because it looks exactly like
Falcon Punch!
And Captain Falcon isn't the only bounty hunter we're going to make today.
Samus!
For Samus, we're going to start with these bright orange Nexonite legs. They have really good printed details and look almost exactly like Samus's armor. Then we're going to add this Wonder Woman torso, but without the original arms, because then we're going to add 2 orange arms with 1 orange hand and 1 turquoise hand. Then by adding this minifigure accessory holder, as well as a 1x1 barrel piece, you can then make her arm cannon. After that, we're going to add this orange shoulder armor, and this orange scuba tank, a bright green minifigure head, and then a red space helmet. And while that does it for Samus's basic appearance, there are some extra accessories that we can add on for some cool details. You can add this translucent green piece from a Harry Potter set to make it look like she's shooting out a laser beam, as well as a translucent clear lightsaber piece to make it look like she's shooting out a missile, or even a super missile. And if you really want to get crazy, you can put a shorter bar inside of that arm cannon, and then this big blue blast piece to make it look like she's using her final smash. And what better to use this on than a Metroid itself? To make a Metroid, we're going to start with this rounded 4x4 dark pink circle, and then add 2 rounded 1x2 plates of the same color. Then place two 1x1 dark pink studs with holes in them with teeth attached to them. Then use those two pieces again, but connect them to two dark red minifigure accessory pieces, and then connect those to two bigger teeth. And then for the top of the Metroid, you're going to need 3 of these red Technic Ball pieces, 2 of which are going to have an additional red stud connected to the bottom of them. Place the 2 red Technic Balls with the extra stud attached into the middle of the dark pink plate, and then just set the extra one in front of them on the plate. And even though it's not connected to a stud, you won't have to worry about that, because we're going to cover it all with this translucent green bubble piece. Once that bubble piece is on, those Technic Balls don't rattle around inside, so it looks like a perfect Metroid. And I couldn't leave Samus to fight this Metroid alone, so we're going to bring in help from another Samus.
Zero Suit Samus.
We're going to get the legs for Zero Suit Samus from a Series 13 collectible minifigure, the Alien Trooper. And then we're going to add this LEGO Stunts torso piece. But we're going to do a couple different things with the arms. We're going to take the original arms off and then spin the torso around and connect some new arms to the other side. So I added some arms that match the same color of the torso. And since we reversed the arms, we're not going to see that weird logo on the front. For Samus's face, I decided to use this Betty Brant minifigure head, which at first glance you wouldn't think would be good to use, but on the back she has a very neutral expression. And since Samus isn't very emotional one way or the other, this will be a good face to use. For a hairpiece, you could either use this more golden yellowish looking blonde hair or this more natural looking blonde hair. But either one you use actually helps cover up the logo in the back with that ponytail. So now let's give her some accessories. I made a really simple jet boot design out of 3 simple pieces. A translucent neon green 1x1 plate attached to a black bracket, and then this 1x2 black oval piece. By putting that black oval piece on the back of that bracket, it makes for a nice little space in between the translucent neon green plate and the oval itself, so that way it looks like her heels. And now we're going to do something that's a tad bit illegal. LEGO handcuffs? Meet pliers. By cutting the handcuff pieces off of the chain, you can make it look like Samus is wearing her bracelets. And for one final accessory, you can give her this Clone Trooper pistol along with this orange laser piece connected to it to look like her paralyzer. And now let's take a look at another laser blaster wielding space explorer.
Fox.
For Fox, we're only going to need some very basic olive green legs to get started here. There is a more accurate and detailed version of olive green legs, but they are pretty pricey. So these ones will have to do for now. We're going to add on this torso from a young Han Solo minifigure, but not the arms. Those are going to be taken from a Commissioner Gordon minifigure. And since Fox is more of a furry friend than a humanoid character, we're going to have to look to Legends of Chima for our next steps. By using 3 pieces from a minifigure named Ferdy from Legends of Chima, I think we're going to be able to achieve our Fox minifigure here. For our first piece from that minifigure, we're going to add this tail piece, which actually connects to the neck of the torso instead of the legs, which kind of surprised me. And then we're going to use the minifigure head from that character, which is honestly kind of horrifying. But is made a little bit more palatable once you put this Fox helmet on. And then once we give Fox his signature blaster, he is going to be all set to jet. And for our next character, we've got another space-traveling pilot as well.
Olimar.
Since Olimar is such a little guy, we're going to give him these short minifigure legs. Then you can use this pilot torso from an Indiana Jones set, but switch out the hands to be red. Then add this minifigure head that's used in a Toy Story 3 set. It's the perfect minifigure head to use for Olimar. Then place one of these fishbowl space helmets on top of him. At first I was worried I wouldn't be able to get an antenna on top of this helmet, but there are actually 2 options. This pink antenna piece actually has a very small stem connection that can connect to this helmet. It's a good option if you don't have access to the pieces I'm going to show you next. It turns out that hot dogs also have that mini stem connection as well, and they come in white, so by putting a red 1x1 stud with a hole through it on top of the hot dog, it makes for the perfect Olimar antenna. You can also add a red scuba tank to the back of Olimar for some added detail. And of course, what would Olimar be without his Pikmin? By using 1x1 cone pieces with some green accessory holders attached to some studs, flowers, or tiles, you can make the perfect Pikmin. And while they are pretty size accurate to Olimar, I do wish they had a little bit more personality and some faces. But I kinda have a solution to that. And while I know that there's no green Pikmin, this is kind of the perfect iteration that I was able to come up with. But by using the body and face from some LEGO Dreams characters, it makes for a pretty good Pikmin. They do have blue bodies for those characters, but no red or yellow. So green will have to do for now.
R.O.B.
To start with the base of R.O.B, we're going to use 4 of these modified red plates. And then on top of them, put 4 modified white tiles and a 2x2 jumper in the middle. Then use a black pole piece and slide some studs with holes in them down the middle. Then place a brick with a hole through it, as well as a couple more studs with holes on top of that. Then take a 1x3 plate and put a couple of these short white bricks on it and connect it to that middle brick. Then to make Rob's arms, use this 1x1 with a bar connected to a Hero Factory arm, and then this slope with a 1x1 with a bar on it. And once you connect all of that together, you can place a 1x3 tile on the front to cap it off. Then for the start of Rob's head, use a 1x2 brick with a hole in it and then put a red pin inside of it. Then you can put a rounded black plate on the bottom of that white brick and then put some translucent studs on there as well. Then slide the head you just built on top of the whole body, and now you've got Rob. And for an extra added detail, you can put this short bar through a radar dish to make his gyro. And it even spins like his gyros in the game. And now that we just made Rob the robot, I think we should call in somebody who's good at combating robots that are made up of metal and a bunch of gears.
Snake.
Before I show you guys my version of a Solid Snake minifigure, I want to give credit to Mikey Briqmen for coming up with the perfect pieces to make Snake out of LEGO minifigures. So go check his video out. However, I've designed some extra accessories I think you guys will like. For starters, you're going to need the legs and the arms from this Shark Army Gunner minifigure from LEGO Ninjago. And then you're going to combine it with a different torso from another Shark Army minifigure. And then once you've switched those torsos, you can then add on a LEGO Batman minifigure head. And then some dark brown hair to top it off. I also gave my Snake minifigure a pistol here, and I made a custom grenade as well, since that's one of Snake's most infamous moves from the Smash Bros. Games. I used a dark gray bracket piece, as well as a silver stud and a silver Technic ball. But when you're all done making that minifigure, there's something fun we can do with the legs. Put two 1x1 studs with bars inside of a 1x2 rounded plate, and then connect it to the top of the legs here. Then get this crate piece and put the legs in the middle of the crate. That way, it looks like Snake is hiding in a box. I also made this exclamation point that you can have floating above the box, just for some added detail.
Ness.
Since Ness is just a kid and much shorter than the other Smash Bros. Characters, we're going to give him these small minifigure legs. And for a torso, we're going to use this really old pirate minifigure torso from years and years ago. It's almost a perfect print. I wish it didn't look like a tank top, but I think it'll do for our purposes. And then we're going to add these yellow and flesh tone colored arms and hands to round out the torso. And for an accessory, I decided to give him his brown backpack. And of course, the only acceptable minifigure head to use for this character is the standard Lego face. Then, of course, we need to give him a red hat, and his famous baseball bat that I so often get knocked out by myself when I play Smash Bros.
Hit.
To start with Pit, we're going to use these legs that have this white skirt print from a Marion Ravenwood minifigure from the Indiana Jones sets. And in order to give the effect of Pit's sandals, we're also going to add a couple 1x1 brown plates. Next, we're going to use this torso from a Star Wars character from a Young Jedi Adventures set. But we won't need the arms or hands. Instead, we're going to add two flesh tone arms and hands. But there's also a cool accessory that we can give to one of his arms, so we're going to need to pop off his hand. We're going to take two of these golden ring pieces and put them over top of his arm. Once you put his hand in place, the two gold rings don't really slip around on the arm. Unfortunately, you can't move the arm much after that, but it looks good for the detail. And of course, what would Pit be without his angel wings? Luckily, with the new Arakakra minifigure from the D&D minifigure series, we have the perfect wings. And while I didn't have a specific minifigure face in mind that would be perfect for him, I chose Hawkeye just to be a little bit ironic. So once we have Hawkeye's face on, we can then add some dark brown hair and a super accurate golden bow. But we can also give him a couple different accessories. There's also another character in the D&D minifigure series that has a really great knife accessory that works well for Pit. If you give Pit two of those knives, it works really well for the bow when it's split in half. Unfortunately, it's not in a gold color, but the shape of it works really well. There's also another LEGO bow that shoots blue arrows, just like Pit's bow in the game. Once again, this accessory isn't in a gold color like his original bow, but it has a cool function. There's also a cool way to make Pit's Guardian Orbitars. By using two Nexo Knights shields with feather pieces connected to the top and a translucent blue tile on the front, it looks for a pretty good Guardian Orbitar. There's also gold Nexo Knights shields, which would probably be more accurate to the Guardian Orbitars. But I only had one, so I used two silver Nexo Knights shields instead.
Mr.Game Watch.
Mr.Game Watch is an entirely brick-built character, so let's break it down. For the legs, I've used some black skeleton legs connected to some 1x1s with bars on them, then a snot brick in the middle, and a modified 1x1 plate with two bars on each side, so that then you can connect some black skeleton arms. Then there's a 1x1 plate for some added space for the neck, and then another snot brick here, a 1x1 plate here, and then the nose, which is a Technic ball. And then you place two black tiles on the front for his body. I even made his iconic flag with a black bar and a black flag piece. That's all the Smash Bros. Characters I have designed for now. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite and which Smash Bros. Fighters I should design in the future. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.